You already know it's your boy Joe back at it again, man. CodingPhase.com. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like this video, man. Alright, so we're going to continue with the Rocky stack. Alright, so like let's say an example, you wanted to deal with static files. For you guys who are new to this and you just want to work on something new, like let's say an index page, right? You could just have to go to here. You have all these folders. On your main folders, you're going to see public, right? Public means this is what the public sees. So these are the files that anybody could go to your website. So let's say if they go to CodingPhase.com/static.html, that's the file that they're gonna see. Or if they go to CodingPhase.com/CSS and then /main.css, then they're gonna see a CSS file, right? So this is where those files are being hosted: CSS, JavaScript, and your HTML. All right. So let's do this real quick. Let's say we want to create index.html, right? Here is here on the main folder, public. So now we have that file, right? Now if we come here and we say yarn run server, what it's going to do is gonna run the server, and then now we could actually see that file on the website. Right, so we click here, you see index.html. This is just a plain HTML file. Right, now let's say I want to change this up. So I want to say this is the menu. The file changed, you see? So it's definitely static, right? So once you change the file, it changes automatically on the server. So alright, now let's talk about dynamic views. Dynamic views are pages that are being rendered by the server itself. So it's not a static file. Static file is .html or .php, whatever it is, right? That's just a regular file, right? But we're talking about dynamic files. Files that you could take variables from the server and print it out on the page. That's a dynamic file. All right, so we're gonna start with the most simplest one, which is actually, let's say get, which is a get request, and then we're gonna do /dynamic, and then now we're going to do and then inside of it we're gonna say render, and then we're going to put in source views pages /dynamic. Right now I haven't created this page yet, but I will do it in 1 second. Alright, so now we save this. Now what we do is we basically create the page, dynamic.ecr. So embedded crystal, that's what actually ECR stands for. So you can actually look at the documentation on the website crystallang.org/API. You could go in there and search ECR, and you see right here, and this is gonna bring you to this page, and you're gonna get a little bit of knowledge of what's going on. They have an example here which tells you exactly what to do. So we're gonna actually build something similar to this, but very simple. Okay, so remember we created the dynamic.ecr, right? So we're going to say this is a dynamic page. Right? So what this is going to do now is going to render. We're going to say, hey, server, load up, run the server, and then from there, the server is going to take this page and it's going to make it into a regular page, into a HTML and CSS and JavaScript type page, right? So we're going to say yarn run server, right? It's just going to be a regular page, but not so regular. You're going to see why. All right, so sorry, we in here. Okay, Camel encountered a problem. Okay, so the issue here is that we didn't put the extension. So it gotta be .ecr. That's my fault. But it's good that you guys got to see that, because you get to see that it actually gives you errors. It gives you, something that you could look for, and you'll be like, okay, it's talking about an extension. So now you could come here and be like, okay, you look here and you're like, okay, wait, it's missing something. And you're like, okay, .ecr is missing from here. So we come here and we say, okay, put .ecr. We say yarn run server, right? Voila, right? So now it shows it. You see, this is a dynamic page. That's simple. All right. Now, really interesting. Remember on the static page how we could actually come here and say, hey, index.html, and we could just come here and change this just by changing the file. So like, let's say we're doing index, hey, this is the menu part 2, right? So we change that, and if we refresh the page, it changes. You see that, right? Now let's try to do that with dynamic views, right? So we still have the server here running. Let's try to change the dynamic view, right? So let's say part 2. When we refresh this page, it's the same thing. Why? Because it's already got compiled like that. It's already in the server, already running that way. So that's the difference between static files and dynamic views, right? So let's stop the server, come back, right? We saved this, and let's rerun it. Run server. So now what it's doing is compiling it and basically getting it together for us. Now part 2 is there. You see? That's the difference between static and dynamic. Okay? Another cool thing about dynamic views, I'm going to show you right now. So let's do this. We're going to stop the server, come back here, and we're going to declare a variable. And we're going to say name. Name equals Joe, right? And then we're going to say, let's say age equals to 29, right? Now we have that. We're going to print out both variables, the name and the age. So we're going to delete this dynamic page, the first thing that we had there, and we're going to say user, and then we're going to say, there's a syntax that you guys got to remember. And then we're going to say age okay. Now what's happening here? What it's doing is basically saying, hey, on this page, embed these variables. Okay, so it's basically gonna bring those variables that we have in the routes, which, you know, later on I could call it controllers or whatever you guys want to call it, but it's really the routes, right? We're basically saying, okay, I want you to print out on this dynamic view, I want you to print out the name, and I want you to print out the age. And that's what we're gonna see right now. Basically run server, and then we refresh the page. User Joe, age 29. Let's think a little bit what's going on, right? Okay, now let's jump to the next thing. Okay, so what's cool about dynamic pages is that you basically could run, you know, raw crystal on the page in different, you know, different things like if statements, loops, whatever, right? Of course, you could do all these things in other languages like PHP. You could do this in Node.js. But what's cool about this is that you could do this here on Crystal. So let's do this right now, right? Let's do it like this. So we're going to say, you are young, right? You are old. So we're going to say, if the user is older than 30, we're going to say you're old. If age is greater than 30, matter of fact, greater than 29, then you are old. Whoa, what the hell? Okay, else. Now, this should tell us something, right? You are young. Matter of fact, yeah, exactly, that's fine. If age greater than 29, you are young. Well, no, matter of fact, do it backwards. If age is less than 29, or let's say 30, right? If age is less than 30, then you're young. If it's greater than 30, then you're old. All right, so let's run this. And I don't mean that you guys are old if you're above 30, guys. It's just me playing around. Okay, so let's do this. So it says you are young because it's less than 30. Now, what if we send this to be, you know, less than 25? Right? What's gonna happen here? You gotta reset the page. Remember, whenever you do a change in a dynamic view, you have to reset the server. At one point, I'm gonna automate that to happen automatically, but for now, you know, it's the first version of the Rocky stack, so you know, bear with me. So you have to reset the page, reset the start on the server. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. So you see, because it says if age is less than 25, it's gonna say you are young. If it's greater than 25, it's gonna say, well, you are old. So pretty much you could run, you know, if statements, loops on the page. So I don't know. It's very useful, especially for situations like where you want to say, hey, is this user logged in or not? All right, guys. So this is the end of the video. This is part 1 of the views. I'm gonna name this static files and view pages, part 1. So then I'm gonna create a part 2, which is gonna come out next, and I'm gonna teach you guys how to work with layouts and how to do includes and all the cool things that, you know, Camel has for us, especially Crystal Lang. All right, guys. You know, I love you guys, man. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like this video, man. Please subscribe, man. Please share it. Please tell your boy, like, hey, man, you want to learn how to become a full stack developer? Guys, this is the time to learn Crystal Lang. And by the way, if you're looking for courses, go in my description. Right now, you could get courses for $10 on Udemy once you use my link. All right, guys, it's right there in the description. You will see the courses that taught me how to become a web developer. And yeah, take advantage, guys. It's cheap. Take advantage. Change your life. You already know it's your boy.